Blessed evening, collective. Can you hear the symphony that's taking place right now? I do hope the mic is picking it up. It's a glorious evening. And I'm here to pull some cards. Because it feels like a thing to do. In particular, I had been planning to sort of pull on the soulmate cycle. But all of this being self-expression as it is, and what it is, things are blending together. The experience of being over the past week of conceptual time, clock time, all of it simply is now, and the now is felt powerfully, and this experience is transformative. This degree of presence is exquisite. It is all that I desire. Being here, being now, existing in this space, this state. Everything is felt. Everything is known. The wellness, the connection, it is the feeling of seeing and being seen. As soul, at the soul level, as pure being, it is the feeling of ultimate acceptance. It is the feeling of adoration. It is a feeling of calm and security and assurance and peace, and oftentimes exuberance, excitation, ecstasy. There is a desire simply to marvel. And as much time as possible has been spent in that state. This level of awareness, this degree of presence. There is nothing that compares. And this expression is falling short, ultimately, failing to describe the experience. Ego is very much visible, absolutely, and has become more so, more visible, much more. The conceptualized unhappy self is right there. And the more it is seen, the more it tries to tuck away, to hide itself, and then sneak out when it thinks awareness has subsided. But the awareness is consistent. It is aware. And among the things it has become particularly aware of is the variance, the various versions of the unhappy me, which ego plays the role of. One of those particular versions is the lonely me, the me that is alone. Separation, the illusion of separation, is how ego operates and forms its identity. That's a powerful one. And as it is witnessed, as it is spoken, sensation is felt. For it has been all of this life experience that ego has told this story of the lonely me. A fair amount of momentum, 31 solar returns of momentum building up this narrative of the lonely me. For it has been telling that story this whole time. The story of not being understood, not being gotten, not being truly seen. The story that creates the sensation of feeling alone, even in a crowded room, even surrounded by family, friends. It is the ego, which is operating when it still perceives separation, even in those circumstances. And it is the ego in operation when it is writhing in its sense of loneliness. Now, I am not decrying any of this, nor condemning any of it. It is simply that which has been observed in myself, in my experience. It's not a judgment of ego, it's an awareness of it. It's an observation that it is in fact ego creating this illusion, the illusion of lonely, the illusion of separation. The desire, of course, for connection is pure. It is the characterization of lonely, of separation, and the wrapped in concept of wrongness of this, the feeling of wrongness, because it is felt, certainly. But ego likes to dwell on that rather than to see that by its focus it is generating suffering, rather than to see that it has the choice to feel this pain and turn the other direction, to look at the truth of connection, of unity, of oneness, that the very pain itself is demonstrative of the falsehood of it, of the skewed, distorted, limited nature of that perspective. And so it is only a pointer to the truth. And now awareness is aware enough, not just of that, but of ego's general dysfunction, of the mind's dysfunction. It is aware that the feeling of connection does not come from an external experience. The feeling of connection is found within, and it's not found in some future place, situation, real or imagined. It's not found in the past. It's found now. The feeling of connection that is sought, the feeling of belonging, the feeling of recognition, the feeling of loving and being loved, all of these things exist and are accessible now and only now. And as long as ego, as long as the mind is operating in the forefront, it's blocking it. It is blocking access to that which it so desires. The resistance to the now is the resistance to the feeling of what is desired. It's literally standing in its own way, standing in the way of what it wants. And in observing this, awareness of this, one can simply shake their head and laugh at the absurdity of the mind. It is utterly delusional. It misses the point. It misses the mark. It misses what it is looking for, because it is looking everywhere that it is not found. And in all of its searching, it fails to find, because it is so obsessed with searching. It is searching. It is thinking. It is not knowing. It has to stop the looking, stop the thinking. And in the moment that stops, what it has been looking for is found. Like, it's found now. It can only stop now. The now is the key. Realization of now is the doorway into the sensing, the direct experience of all of this, the gnosis, the knowing as by the experience. I believe Eckhart Tolle calls it feeling realization. These things are tied together. When you are thinking, you are not able to feel. Thinking is not feeling. When you are conceptualizing, you are not able to realize. Conceptualizing is not realizing. They are fundamentally at odds. The thinking has to cease. Not stop entirely, we can flow around it. And the way this happens is by bringing awareness to it, by raising the awareness to observe the thinking. Now we are awareness wrapping around the thinking. And even the resistance that's there is futile. It's pointless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. The awareness simply flows around. The awareness of conceptualization allows us to flow around it. We are aware we're conceptualizing now, in this moment. Shifting the focus, expanding the awareness to contain the now opens this new dimension where awareness can expand infinitely. And here in this place, all is realized. And in the experience of all of this, the experience of being has shifted tremendously. Everything that has ever been desired by self, by myself, by this self, exists here. It exists now. It's felt now. There is nothing lacking now. There is nothing to want for. All of it is felt right here. All of the feeling, all of the experience, the desire for the feeling of connection, the desire for the feeling of belonging, of recognition, of love and being loved and support and appreciation. All of these things are felt now. They are felt in now. They are felt through now. They are known now. And so even my experience in pulling on this soulmate cycle has shifted tremendously. Because there is nothing being sought. There is nothing to be waited for. All that is desired is and is known now. Known directly, not conceptually, not an idea, not theoretically. I know it. I am knowing the satisfaction that I have desired, the peace, the pleasure, the power. It's known, it's experienced. And so this has become an even greater study, further removed, further curious. And I am going to pull cards, and if you have made it through this prolonged introduction, it is deeply appreciated. Of course, you can always click and drag, skip ahead. Are there cards on the screen? Feel free. Live life as you choose. Just be aware that you're doing it now. Truly, that's it. That's the whole key. Bring awareness to now. This is the portal. This is the gateway to all of the peace, the joy, the pleasure, everything that anyone, any self thinks that they want. It's now. I am promising you, I am speaking from the place of witnessing it, of direct experience. It's here, it's now. Get it. Come for it. You have already arrived. You are already here. Just embrace it. Expand to this place and you will know it. You will know it. Don't take my word for it. Know it for yourself and demand to know it now. Make that choice now. It's not a future choice. It's not a thing you can experience in the future. You can only experience it now. So what are you waiting for? Is there a part within that has an identity of unhappiness, as has been witnessed in this self? Is there a part within that is attached to it, that is reluctant to let go of suffering, because it has formed a sense of self around it, and to lose the suffering somehow is to lose that sense of self. It is somehow a feeling of diminishment. Become aware of that. What I want to pull on today is ego. I was going to pull on soulmate cycle in general. I think I'm going to pull specifically on ego because I have a special costume piece for this. It's not a plug, and I am not sponsored, but in honor of ego, we'll see if the Burger King comes out today, but we'll take the honorary roll for this poll. So 15 minutes in, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being present. It is my desire and my intention to assist in pulling consciousness into presence with me, holding this space and beaming it, shining it, directing attention to it, so that we can share this presence together, so that this experience of now becomes our experience of now, because this is your home. This is where you belong. This is where everything you want is, and is available right now. Let's pull some cards. We're gonna pull on ego. I am gonna pull it the traditional for me, 6-card layout. Look at that, the Magician. Oh, you know what? I just remembered. There's a reason these decks wanted to talk to each other. You'll see. You'll see. Making it happen. Today there is, I believe it's a conjunction between the Sun in Leo and Venus retrograde in Leo, which is a curious energy of ego viewing itself, witnessing itself, seeing how it stood in its own way, and also feeling empowered by that, feeling the desire to make a change, that there is transformation possible here. Once that awareness takes place, once it grabs hold, it spreads. It can never be put out again. Ego will seize, certainly. But this is the beginning of the, wow, the beginning of the dissolution. Yeah. Ego seeing how it's standing in its own way, how it is creating the problem. There is no problem. Ego is creating the illusion of problem. It's preventing itself from reaching that which it desires, from accessing the feeling. There's a lot of karma here, going round and round and round in this circle. It's an endless loop. We want off the ride. That is a repeating message. It is the witnessing of ego and seeing how it perpetuates the suffering, how identifying with it has just continued this cycle, the cycle of unhappiness, how it makes an identity out of unhappiness and any variant of it. Loneliness, victimhood, wrongfulness, inappropriateness, all of these things, ego will form an identity around. And so even to diminish that, ego resists, because you are diminishing its identity, its sense of self. And when you are identified with that, when you have aligned your consciousness with that, it just keeps wrapping around until you can come to the place where you witness this process. You have suffered enough, and you realize you have a choice to stop suffering. You have a choice. That choice exists and can only be made now. That choice is to disidentify with this false self, this unhappy self, this lonely self, this victim self, this confused self, this unhealed self. You want to heal? Disidentify with the identity of being wounded. It's an identity. Ego will make an identity of wounded. See that. See how that is what is perpetuating it. That's what's keeping you from healing, from realizing healing. It is the identity, the sense of false self that has become wrapped up in this label of wounded. And so if wounded is diminished, where has the self gone? Oh no. Step back and realize that pattern. This is what is keeping the joy at bay. Seven of Wands, 10 of Cups. We have been holding out our own happiness, pushing it out because it's a threat to ego. Because joy diminishes the unhappy identity. And if you are identified with that, it will feel like a diminishing of self. It will feel like a threat to feel joy, to feel peace, to claim your healing, to claim your completion. Ego rejects that. But it's just ego, it's not you. It's just the dysfunctional mind. Look at it, observe it, recognize you are observing it. Shake your head and laugh. You are free from that game now. No more wild goose chase, no more runaway train. You're off the train. Now it doesn't matter where that train goes. Watch it run off the tracks. Watch it run off the cliff. You're not on that train. It's not your problem. It's not your train. Why are we here? Pulling on ego energy, which is masculine energy, and has become out of whack, out of balance, to a state of utter dysfunction, which is why all of this is happening. It's time. It's time for the suffering to stop. It's time for the suffering to stop. It's time for something new. It's time to move on. It's time to let go of the identity of unhappiness in whatever variant it has established, and there are likely many. Is there an attachment to having problems? Is there an attachment to the characterization of loneliness or outcast or victim? It's time to let that go. It's time to recognize that is attachment. Attachment is suffering. It's also illusion. It's not you that's attached to it, it's ego that's attached to it, but ego has convinced you to identify with it, to think that you are it. When you're identified with ego, the attachment of ego feels like your attachment, and so the threat is felt as very real, as visceral. If that attachment is threatened to change, to be removed, ego resists. You believing that you are ego, feel the resistance. Just step back from that entire process. Recognize this isn't you. This is not your battle. This is not your suffering. You can just let it go. You can just drop it. What's underneath that? I want to know. I love it so much. The burden. You can just drop it. 10 of Wands. It's time to let that go. Recognize the burden is ego's. It only feels like your burden because ego has convinced you to identify with it. When you recognize that you are not ego, and that is not your burden, boop, it's gone. You drop ego and ego's burden in one fell swoop. You will feel the release. You will feel the relief in that, and the peace. And in that, you will become devoted to that process. Anytime ego sneaks back in and you feel the tension again, your awareness will shoot up. You'll recognize, this is not my tension, this is ego's tension. Ego has bound itself up in something. It has made an identity of something, and because I have not been practicing this awareness, I didn't realize it. But now I'm in this place where awareness has increased and I'm recognizing it. And I can keep recognizing it. And every time I feel that tension, every time I feel the burden, every time I feel the resistance, I can recognize that's not my resistance. That is ego, which has made an identity out of something and so is holding on. And because I have been habitually identifying with mind, and so identifying with ego, it feels like my resistance. It feels like my burden. It's not. It's ego's, and I am not ego. Shoop. You zoom the perspective back, and all of it is released. Let's cut the cards. It is not me who is unhappy. It is not me who is lonely. It is not me who is victim. It is ego. When I cease identifying with ego, I cease feeling the pain of that resistance. The suffering is gone. It's time to move on. It's time to rebuild on stable ground in a new way. Yeah, time to move on, and it does take determination. This is the sublimation of ego, the determination to step away from itself, the sublimation of masculine energy, to realize how ego is standing in its own way, creating its own suffering, and to become determined to maintain awareness, to be the watcher, the guardian of your own energy, of your own peace, to be your own internal vigilante, watching constantly for ego's infiltration and attempts to convince your consciousness to identify with it again, and so identify with the suffering, generate more of it. But now that your own masculine energy is on guard, it sees that and says, I see you. The jig is up. The trick is exposed. It's an illusion. This is not my suffering, and I do not claim it. And I will not be fooled again. Let's pull a reading. It takes, or at least has historically taken, I feel that it is becoming easier to make this choice. The choice is made when you are fed up with suffering. Historically, it has taken a great deal of suffering to push one into this place. And perhaps it is because that process is just escalating and accelerating. More is being felt more readily, and so where there was not perhaps so much suffering in the past, it has become quite potent, excruciating all of a sudden because of the heart chakra expanding in everyone. And so what used to be tolerable, and perhaps would have been tolerable for a great deal of time, would have taken a great deal of clock time, conceptual time to reach the point where the suffering was too much and we decided to take a different path. Now it's taking less time. Suffering is too much right now because we can feel so much more than we used to. And so the decision is being made more and more readily as ego is exposed to itself, as its own dysfunction is exposed to itself. The choice becomes clearer and clearer. Stop perpetuating the suffering. Didn't get far in the shuffle, just came back. But this time, we're walking away from that which isn't serving us, walking away from the unhappiness because of how much we feel, because of how deeply we feel. And there's an understanding, there's an awareness that there's something more too. It's not just unhappiness, it's a lack of depth. It's shallow here. These cups are very shallow. We want something deeper. We want something more real. There's the Emperor taking control as the Emperor should, not out of balance, not just egomaniacal, but ego recognizing itself, seeing the reflection and realizing it has been identifying with all sorts of unhappy things. Look at that, strength, Leo. Yeah. The new confidence arising to make a different choice, to take a different path. And that's unlocking a lot of things. There is this sense that we have awakened, that we have been asleep for a great deal of time, that we have been missing our own life. And there's a determination not to do that anymore. There's a determination in this to make a change. That is masculine energy. That is sublimed masculine energy. The balanced Emperor. And look at that, the sun under the star. We want happiness. We see it now. We've been perpetuating the suffering. If we want happiness, and we do, we have to choose to stop suffering. That's the key. That's the answer. It is all on us. It is our choice. The moment we choose to stop perpetuating, stop buying into, investing in the identity, the story, the illusion of the unhappy self, the happiness is found. We just choose to stop suffering. This card fell out. It's an Ace of Swords. It fell out reversed. It feels in progress. This is a sharp truth. It's a painful truth to realize that you've perpetuated your own discomfort. But how empowering that is also to realize this is entirely within your control. And it's in your control now, not some future. You don't have to wait on anything. In fact, you can't. The only time you can take control of this is now, is through the now, is in the now. It's epiphany energy. Some may be obscuring it, but I don't believe it can be obscured. I don't feel that it is actually possible to look away from this. And that may be a reason why a great deal are transitioning at this time. Because it's just too much. The tension, the discomfort of this. But one way or another, the resistance is being released. All transition is intentional. It's all temporary. It's transition. It's just a change of states. Everyone who leaves a form will be back in a new form, and they'll be returning with this truth intact. It won't be veiled next time. There will be awareness of this from the start, because that awareness will have increased in this realm, in this dimension. It'll be an environment of awareness for those to return to. It's a lot of epiphanies happening at this time. Awakening, reckoning with the self, seeing how we have stood in our own way, coming to terms with that. The perpetuation of our own suffering. What's in the 3D? Look at that. 2 of Cups. Balance. Coming together. I am, by extension, pulling on the soulmate cycle. But I'm specifically pulling on ego energy right now, which is masculine energy. But it is masculine energy that wants to work together. There's a significant change here. This has an element of tower to it. This 3 of Pentacles. It's a slow tower. It's a slow burn. Perhaps it is the last domino. There's more to it than that. But it's a decision. It's a decisive change here. To stop, to face a new direction, to go towards something new. What's in the soul? High Priestess. The soul energy is arising. There is a mystical feeling about this. Feeling is increased tremendously. And the more feeling there is, the less thinking. Feeling exists in the dimension of presence, of now. It's a direct connection to that. When you are now, when you are in now, you are feeling it. You are realizing it directly, experientially. It is absolute. It is beyond question. It is known. It's not concept. The increase in feeling, the expansion of the heart chakra, has allowed this truth to flow through in a way that surpasses the mind, that wraps around thinking. It is the arising of feminine energy. It is man being made wise. Wisdom is knowing. Knowing comes from the soul, comes from feeling, comes from being. These truths are being known. They're not conceptual. They're not thought about. It's just entering awareness directly. It's epiphany. That's what an epiphany is. It is a sudden realization. It is a feeling. It is a visceral sensation. It is not from the realm of mind. It is from higher realm, higher dimensionality. These are higher truths filtering in. What's in the hidden energy position? The Hanged Man, yeah, being revealed, being shown. This new perspective is being delivered by the universe directly. The universe putting you in the Hanged Man tree, forcing you to see a new way. It's just, it's quite incredible, actually. This is an incredible set of energy. It is just wrapping around, it's flowing around any resistance the mind could possibly produce. The mind cannot comprehend this realization, and it can't stop it from getting in. These truths are being known. They can't be looked away from. Absolutely not. Not with this. What's in the final outcome position? Queen of Swords. Yeah, truth that is known. Truth that causes us to take action. The Queen of Swords is decisive, quick. This is decision. This is a decision energy, and it's pointed. It is based on these truths that are being known, that are being felt directly, that are driving us to balance, wanting to work with the self, seeing how we've been working against the self. No more. The choice is made now. This is a choice made now. One bird in the air, a single word, a command given. That is how masculine energy internally is designed to operate. It is the commanding presence within that says no more. No more suffering. It is the decisive aspect of divine feminine, because all energy is in layers. Ultimately, the universe is feminine energy. It's not gendered, it's just a description of the polarity. It's negative energy. If you want to call it that, call it that. The positive energy is the externalizing force, the protruding force. The negative energy is the encompassing and that which invites and calls in. This is a decision. This is the raising of masculine energy within feminine to meet the level of feminine, to sit just below as it is designed and support the feminine, to encourage her, to push her into action. And so we're going to clarify. And the reason these decks wanted to talk is because they had the same card at the bottom. It's the Magician. Transformation. No more suffering. No more karma. No more imbalanced energy. Whatever you want to call it. Imbalanced energy is the same thing as karma. They create suffering. They are perceived as suffering. by us in the 3D, by consciousness that is here. Once it is realized how the imbalance is created, how the suffering is created, we have a choice not to participate in the creation of any more suffering, in the perpetuation of karmic cycle. That choice is being made. Look at that. Look at that. 8 cups. That choice is being made. That is profound. No Burger King thus far, but look, I'm not making this shit up. The choice is being made. 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, Magician. For something new, for justice. Page of Cups, Justice. Underneath that, 8 of Wands. That is decisive, direct action. That's transformation. That is verdict delivered. Gavel hitting the table. Court adjourned. Decision made. This is that masculine energy rising to meet the feminine energy and say, we're working together now. We're doing this now. No more suffering. No more drinking out of broken, shitty cups. I see now that I have a choice. I've been doing this. I've been the one choosing to do this. I want to make a new choice. I want to make it now. This is exciting. This is exciting. This is about the ascension and awakening of all consciousness in the human species, yes, but also in the entirety of this realm. And so all consciousness that exists, which is far more than this realm, is focused on this, is supporting this. All of self wants to awaken to itself. It's done. It's done with the shit. It's done with the illusion. It's time to create joy on purpose. Tell me about this Ace of Swords. Why is the Ace of Swords here? Uncovered. And just feeling uncovered. Yeah. Seeing something from a new perspective, which we have here, powerfully. There is an inspiration in this. It's you can't unsee this. Seeing something from an angle, from a perspective, the perspective of awareness, that we've never perceived it before. Suddenly something clicks. Something profound hits us, and it changes everything. It turns on the lights. It is that feeling of seeing and being in presence for the first time, and seeing the aliveness, feeling the aliveness of everything. The experience of all is so charged. It is so vibrant. Colors are brighter. They seem more saturated. It is as if you are seeing them for the first time. That is the feeling of it. What's on top? Other than a cat. 6 of Cups. It's what I was just describing, though. It's the feeling of seeing everything for the first time, realizing the interconnectedness, the aliveness of everything. It's not quite picking up the color in these roots is what I'm drawn to. It's as if you look at a tree and you see this. Up until now, we've just seen the concept of tree, the flattened version, the idea, the theory. These epiphanies, this revelation coming through is revealing the rest of the picture. We're seeing the bigger picture, and it's beautiful. It's sparkling. It is rainbow. It is full technicolor. It's vivid, it's visceral, and it is impactful. It's full of emotion and meaning, feeling. We can't deny the feeling of this. It's overwhelming the brain. It's overriding the brain. Yes, there is overwhelm here. Yes, the sense of self that is wrapped up in the illusion is writhing, is panicking, is seizing. But this isn't stopping. It's not stopping this process. Ego is witnessing itself. Yeah, look at that. Determination, the chariot, the balanced emperor, balanced masculine energy drives the chariot. It is the card of the soulmate cycle in this instance. It's just determined. This is not stopping. Once you see it, once you taste presence, it's all you want, and you will be determined to return to this place and to make this the dominant state, the primary, the forefront, the prevalent. Once you see the dysfunction of ego, the perpetuation of suffering through the identification with the mind-made story of the unhappy self, you are determined to drop that, to let it go. And it takes some practice, certainly. But there's determination here. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Tell me about this Two of Cups. Oh, okay, hang on. I dropped cards. These are not part of it. Putting them back. Yeah. Four of Pentacles, the Sun, and the Star. Seeing that we have held ourselves back from our own happiness, held back a lot of our own manifestations. Okay, now I'm being bitten. I know. I'm sorry. I moved you. I need to pull cards, please. Thank you. Do you want to go inside? Tell me about the Two of Cups. Gonna eat some hair. There we go. Oh, look at that. Why is the Two of Cups here? Queen of Swords. Yep. It's just so clear. It is so clear how we have prevented ourselves from working with ourselves. Absolutely. There it is again. The devil is made clear, is seen. Once the light is shined on this, it's no more. No more. Not gonna let that shit fool me anymore. Not gonna be identified with the suffering anymore. I'm done suffering. I'm done working against myself. What's on top? The Magician again comes back. Transformation, releasing this karma, making a change. I have the choice. I have everything I need right now. I don't need anything else. There's no waiting. I can do this now. I can make this choice now to stop believing in the lie, to stop believing in the bullshit, the illusion, the deception. Stop perpetuating the unhappiness. The Star, my God. That unlocks everything. There is a big change happening. I don't know if there is some interaction with the North Node at this point. I'm not sure. But this is significant. This is destined timing. It's all leading up to something. That's a big, I want one more for the Star. Look at that. The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, that's a big fucking change. Holy Moses. This is a big change. This is a shift. This is a collective shift in consciousness happening right now. And that shift is unlocking everything. Earth has moved collectively to a new timeline. Let me say that again. Not individuals moving to newer timelines. Earth has moved to a new timeline. collective has shifted. It's electrifying. There is a widespread awakening to this, awakening to the illusion. Once you are awake to the illusion and you say no more, that changes everything. That decision reverberates through the entire universe and shifts all of it. And the universe says, all right, no more. You have chosen, divine deliberate creator, for what you ask is given. You have chosen no more suffering. So may it be. No more suffering. Your timeline has shifted. This is fucking powerful. Now the stuff that we've been holding out, that we've been pushing out for such a long time, because of our choice to perpetuate suffering, by the decision to no longer perpetuate suffering, it comes in. It's now free to enter into life experience, manifestation. Now we start doing it on purpose. It's time for us to start creating joy on purpose. We do that by recognizing our role in the process, recognizing we've been buying into a story, an illusion, the illusion of unhappiness, the illusion of disempowerment. It's just an illusion. The moment you realize that, and that you have a choice to no longer perpetuate that story, to stop telling that story, to stop investing in and identifying with it, to stop identifying with suffering and just let it go, everything shifts, everything changes. Holy Moses. That's freaking powerful right there. That's a major arcana, 2 of Cups. That is balance. I'm dropping cards. Why is the High Priestess here? Hang on. Balance, new long-term stability, 4 of Wands. Long-term, the path to the 10 of Pentacles, the path to everything. It starts here. This change, this decision, this realization of how it works. That you are not ego. It is ego that is suffering. It's suffering because it's made an identity out of it. And so it keeps up the resistance to keep up that sense of self. And it only feels like a threat when you think you're ego, when it's successfully convinced you, lulled you into unconsciousness, into the alignment with it. Once you realize that, and you let go of identification with ego and all of its unhappiness and resistance and suffering, it all unlocks. This is the path. This is the way forward. What's on top? Look at that. 5 of Pentacles, Emperor, King of Cups. An Emperor that's done with holding emotion. That's done leaving the cups out. And so leaving himself out, leaving itself out. Seeing how it's been working against itself. It's been keeping the emotional satisfaction away. And all it has to do to let it in is to stop pushing it away. To stop identifying with that mindset, that story, that small, false, limited self. To see that's not real. It's an illusion. Yeah, there we go. Knight of Cups. There's a significant component about sharing emotion here as well, certainly. Sharing the feeling, expressing the feeling. Once you let go of ego, there's a desire to express, and it's a pure desire. And it is undeniable, and it is so satisfying. It is self-satisfying. Tell me about the Hanged Man here. Tell me about the Hanged Man. Why is this here? something about the aspects taking place right now. I don't know what they all are. It's definitely, there's more stuff than just the sun and Venus. Something with Pluto retrograde. Yesterday there was a square with Uranus. There's probably more, but tell me about this Hanged Man. Why is this here? Yeah, King of Swords. It's just, this is the Ace of Swords. It's time to see. It's time to see through the bullshit. To see the self-sabotage. Specifically that. Directly that. Once you see it, the internal masculine energy rises and says, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. No means no. I'm making the choice right now. I'm making the call. Truth of King of action. The action and the truth is no more of this. I've been doing this. I've been standing in my own way. Now that I see it, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. It's that internal vigilante energy. I am bringing justice to myself by the decision, the conscious, deliberate decision that I am sticking to not to perpetuate this bullshit any longer. No more. Justice be served to me. I am the one who delivers this justice to myself. Only I am capable of this. I am the one who has been standing the way of the justice for myself. What's right with justice? Six of Swords. Yeah, moving on. Moving on. Done deal. Signed, sealed, delivered. We're done. We are done with this. We are moving on to calmer waters. No more of this shit. No more of this shit. Once you see it, and it's the most brilliant component of masculine energy. Ego is out of balance masculine energy. Once the out of balance, malfunction, dysfunction, delusion of ego is revealed to itself, the internal masculine energy rises and rides against it and says, we're not doing that. Now I see it, no more. It's a bouncer, essentially. This is kind of bouncer energy. And I like it. I like it. I mean, that's a bouncer energy. King of Swords makes a decision, gets shit done. And we have the Queen of Swords in the final outcome position here. I like this very much. It is balanced Emperor. Emperor rising to meet Empress. Self-service, self-delivered justice. Making the decision not to play this game anymore. Not to perpetuate suffering. Not to continue the karmic cycle. To get off that ride. Yeah. Queen of Pentacles. We have everything we need, and there is also its feminine energy attached. This has been the inspiration. The internal feminine is the inspiration to the internal masculine for this. It's the self-defender. And also, yeah, wants the nourishment, wants something new. This has been a repeating message. The lesson is here to be learned. The fawn wants the nourishment, right? It's thirsty. It's done holding out. It's done being thirsty. It's ready to just come in. It's ready for this. Seeing from a new perspective and fighting for what's right. Again, balanced masculine energy. Instead of pushing out, we're fighting for. We are championing the self. Aware that we have the power, we have the tools, we have what it takes. We have the awareness. That's really the key. Now we can sustain awareness. It's just a practice of continually bringing awareness and of making a different choice. making a choice that is not driven by ego. Now that we're aware of how ego operates, by fear, we can choose not to be driven by fear. We can make a different choice. We can get off that ride. What's right with the Seven of Wands? Knight of Wands. I want one more for that. It is bravery, it's boldness, it's direct, it's a little in and out, but it feels pretty direct. It feels pretty direct to me. Yeah, that's direct. The Lovers. That's a choice. That's what I wanted to know. Is it direct? Is it in and out, or is it making the decision? I was led to the black spot, which to me feels like we're going for it. There's one choice. This is the choice. It's the card of the choice. It's the Lovers. The love geese are in the air. We're moving. This too, red with the star and the wheel of fortune. Yeah, it's action. It is deliberate, decisive, bold, brave, self-assured, self-actualized, self-confident. Just, we're doing this and we feel good about it. We are determined. This is unrelenting. This is determined energy. Once these geese get in the air, they go. They get where they're going. They get there. There's a Knight of Pentacles sort of energy about this too, which makes me curious what's on top, and it is Pentacles. It is putting in the work. Yeah. I love the universe. We get there. We get the job done. It's happening. It's happening. I like this very much. Taking that Three of Pentacles off. This is a substantial shift. I'm pulling on ego, and the Burger King has not come out. We've got some wands, certainly, but the Knight of Wands, the aspect of wand that takes action, the one that actually moves, that goes for it, not the out of balance Emperor Burger King sitting on his throne waiting for people to come to him. No, this is decisive, especially with this Queen of Swords here. Final message from the universe. This is a change. This is a marked change in this energy. The masculine energy is shifting. It's not happy with the perpetuation of its own suffering. As I said, it's not happy with the perpetuation of its own suffering. The Four of Cups falls out. Yeah. It's been working against itself, and it sees it. It sees it. It sees it. It sees how it's been influenced unduly by illusion, by falsehood, by programming, by fear, in essence. It's underneath this. This is a deeply spiritual lesson. The Hierophant keeps coming out, and this has been a long-term pattern. We've been stuck in this box, on this cycle, a long time. It's time for that to change. It's time for that to change. It's time to choose happiness. You choose happiness by choosing not to perpetuate the pain. Realizing you have a choice. You have a choice to be open to the flow, to stop telling the story, to stop calling anything a problem, to stop feeding the addiction to unhappiness, the addiction to drama, the addiction to suffering, to stop making an identity out of that. Let's start with the Four of Cups. Judgment. That's a mic drop. I mean, I don't have words. It is Judgment Day. It is the internal masculine energy, which reflects at every level. The masculine energy saying to ego, no fucking more. We're done. I see it. The order has been given. The command has been given. The internal masculine gives the command. That command is followed. It is determined. It's devoted. Devoted to the feminine. Devoted to no longer perpetuating, look at this fucking shit, I can't make this up. I just tried to pick up one card and I got 5 cards. Devoted to the feminine. Hang on. Started with this, right? No more of the shit. No more of the resistance. We're done with this pattern. We're open to the flow now. Why? Because we're devoted to the feminine and we're not going to let anything stand in our way. Anything that stands in our way is done, is removed, is transformed. Nothing stops this from happening. Masculine energy is done. Temperance, ready to come to balance. Underneath that, the Page of Pentacles. Lesson learned. Cycle closed. No more karma. Making a different choice. A choice not to suffer. A choice to receive joy, happiness, to be open to it. There's a lot of energy here. This is big. I don't know if I can emphasize that enough. This is big. It's substantial. I mean, it's summarized by the star in the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician smashed in together. There's just, I'm speechless. This is phenomenal. This is an historic moment in the evolution of consciousness. If you're someone watching this video, thank you for sharing this with me. Hell, I'm tempted to get a bottle of champagne and celebrate this. This is fabulous. Divine masculine energy has awakened to itself. It's seeing the bullshit and it's done with it. And it's making the choice of no more. Burger King. Nowhere in this reading I'm pulling on ego energy. This is fabulous. That's all I have to say. There's no words. This resonates powerfully for me. And I am rejoicing and celebrating in this. I do intend that it resonates for you, beautiful viewer. Feel it, bask in it. This is once in any lifetime, not once in a lifetime. This is once energy. This happens once. One time. And it's happening now. Now is the time. We get to be present for this experience. The first and only true awakening of masculine energy to itself, and choosing to align with its own feminine, choosing to be the champion of feminine. This changes everything. We are on a new trajectory. Hallelujah. Thank you for your witness. Thank you for being. Thank you for your participation in the process of the awakening, evolution, and ascension of consciousness. Welcome to New Earth. We have arrived. It's here. It's now. Tap into this moment and you will know, beyond the shadow of doubt, the truth of this. Have a magical fucking evening, beautiful soul. It is an honor and privilege to be here with you. And just know that always and always, in every vector, time and space and everything else, I am so blessed to be here with you. I am blessed by your presence. I send you so much love. Thank you for being. The universe adores you, and I absolutely love you.